Hi everybody! Currently right now at my house there's a huge storm going on, but it's too hot to have the windows shut. We're gonna leave them open and there's wind and lightning and thunder, and if that goes on, I don't know what to say. I am here today because I want to talk about a book that I read which had been on my bookshelf for a really long time and I never read it, and I finally have read it, and that book is Still Life. Still Life is written by Sarah Winman. It's super beautiful, super pretty. I wanted to chat about my thoughts and my feelings. She's a pretty big book. I think she comes in between the 400 and 500 page mark, and after this clip you'll see me venturing off to Sydney for my day in the city that I had. And I do go to Berkeley and a few other places in Sydney which are my favourite, and I'll add them in at the end. Let's get started with Still Life. It is following two central characters, Evelyn, who is an art historian, who's a little bit older than Ulysses, who is a soldier. And we kick off in 1944, so during the Second World War, and it's just about to end, and we are in Florence, Italy. These two characters meet in kind of, unforeseen circumstances. Evelyn introduces Ulysses really to the world of art. And the thing about this book that I loved the most is that not only is the Italian language, but also Renaissance, high Renaissance artworks are filtered in and out throughout the book. And I'll get to that in a minute. Themes throughout this book. The big one is intergenerational friendship. So between Evelyn and Ulysses, they're like decades apart in age. I don't see it a lot. And so when I saw it in a book of this magnitude, like a book this big, where that friendship is formed in the very first few pages, I was like, love it. Another one, there's an element of magic that happens in this book, and I'm not talking about like Harry Potter like level of magic. I'm talking about particularly one character called Cressy, and he is in Ulysses' storyline, and he's this kind of middle-aged to elderly man who has an element of magic about him, and I kind of see him as like an elder throughout the storyline, and he like talks to trees and he talks to different things, and he has a very like mystique about him which I felt very drawn to. I really enjoyed reading his storyline. This is also a book that has really beautifully well-written queer characters. Evelyn herself is queer, and also the daughter of Peg, Alice, Piano Pete, is also queer, and it's really nice to see queer characters written as if they're just regular characters in the storyline, like their coming out story, and the fact that they're queer is not like the crux of the problem of their life, which I see in a lot of books and also in a lot of movies and TV. Like that's kind of why the queer character's in there, to discuss that storyline, like it's the definition of their whole life. Disability is touched on, longing, love. It's very witty, it's very funny. There's also quite a big theme around friendships being the chosen family, and a lot of the friends in Evelyn's life and a lot of the friends in Ulysses' life are his chosen family. His story is very interesting, and he has the largest ensemble of cast and characters that are associated with him. So after the war, he heads back to London and he lives above a pub. The pub is run by Cole. He's a great character, but he's a bit more rigid. He doesn't have room for any sort of fuss. And so he runs the pub. The pub is called the Stout and Parrot, the parrot being the parrot on the front cover of the book. Now this parrot is known to say things inappropriately in inappropriate circumstances, and I found that a lot of humour came from just this single animal character. This year, for some reason, it seems to be the year for me that I'm reading books that jump storylines. At the beginning of January, I did read two books by Emily St. John Mandel, and she's wonderful as an author at jumping between different moments in time. Emily St. John Mandel does it very well, and Sarah Winman also does it quite well. A little bit about the pacing of this book for me. At the beginning of this book, I struggled. I'm going to go with it probably took me about 50 pages before I really got into the rhythm of the book and really fell in love with it. My advice is stay with it, because it becomes really beautiful, and you do really feel like at the end of this novel that these people are your friends. Like you feel like they're people that you know and that you could probably just call up and talk to, but you can't. Let's talk about Evelyn for a minute. So Evelyn is an art historian. She forms a really beautiful friendship with a lady that she calls Dottie. Now her full name is Dorothy Cunningham. I did a bit of research about who Dorothy Cunningham is because in the book she's a very famous artist. And I tried to look if this was based on a real person. I'm still unsure. I did do a bit of Google researching because I love when that happens, when there's a connection to a real person in history. I still don't know if she's a real artist. So I'm still undecided on that. Let's talk about the art for a second, because with Evelyn's character, she mentions art a lot. I'm going to put a few pictures up of artworks that are filtered in and out throughout the whole book. The first one is Lady with an Ermine. This is obviously Renaissance. And the next one is the Deposition of the Cross. Again, that Renaissance period. The Deposition of the Cross is mentioned numerous times in the book. I think the Lady with Ermine is only mentioned once. When these artworks are being viewed or saved or restored in Evelyn's storyline is when they're mentioned. The next one is Annunciation. The Annunciation is mentioned numerous times in the book. Another one is Baptism of Christ. That's mentioned a few times. And another one which kind of surprised me was the Sabine woman, which is a statue, is a representation of artistic freedom during the Renaissance period. When I talk about time zones and positions in history, there's a number of settings that are included in this book. So we obviously have Florence, East London, World War II, Tuscany, and we also have the London Olympics, and we also have the coronation of the Queen in England. There's an innocence to a lot of the characters. A lot of the circumstances that the characters go through are real, and they felt very personal to me in a way. I'm not really too sure why. Another thing is the prose in this book can be a little bit tricky. Bear with it. It hasn't got that real typical structure of dialogue that we're probably used to, apostrophe marks, commas, all that sort of thing. It's similar to Sally Rooney's Normal Life, where we're jumping in and out of character dialogue very, very quickly. When you start reading it, that might throw you off just a little. It's great. I really, really enjoyed it. That's Still Life by Sarah Winman. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the video. I know that I look completely different in this to the rest of the clips that you're about to see, but that's because this is filmed on separate days because I lost the video. Oh, also shout out to the 2 comments that I got from just people on the YouTubes in my first book video. Shout out to you. I don't remember your usernames, but you are the people who commented on my 2023 books video, and I appreciate you because I don't even know how you found me, but I appreciate it, and I will talk to you guys soon. But yeah, that's Still Life, at least my interpretation. Look at this cutie pie. Enjoying the day. So here's the thing. I now live about an hour to an hour and a half south of Sydney, but I used to live in Surrey Hills. Every now and then, which isn't too often, maybe like twice or 3 times a year if I get the time, I will visit Surrey Hills and just go to my favorite places that I used to go to. One of them is Veneziano Coffee. So here's a hack: buy your coffee beans from the store and they give you a free coffee. And then the other one is a bakery which is really just across the road, and it's called La Ville and Belle. And the lady gave me 2 instead of 1. Once a week I would get a treat from there. And Veneziano, I just remember in Surrey Hills, and I lived quite close to Crown Street Primary School, if you know where that is. But in Surrey Hills I used to always get up early because I was such an early riser for work, and I would love walking around the neighborhood in Surrey Hills because it was just so peaceful. And I used to always go to Veneziano and get my morning coffee, and I would get a long black. I've also been to a few op shops. The op shop on Crown Street, St. Vincent de Paul, they're pretty good. I bought a dress, and I also found this book, which I've heard really good things about. It is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. So I bought the hard cover for $5. I get probably, honestly, probably 70% of my bookshelf is recycled books, donated books. I'm now going to go to Berkeley Bookshop in Paddington, which is my favorite bookshop. Although actually no, I lie. There was a bookshop on Crown Street that I absolutely loved, but it shut down. My second favorite is Berkeley Bookstore, and I'm going to take some footage of the inside because it's stunning. Okay, I am on a busy street, but I thought I would show you what I bought because I am in my Saltburn era. I loved that movie. I bought The Bride's Head Revisited by Evelyn Waugh, and it's a Penguin classic. It's pretty much the book that inspired the film, and I am so excited to read it because I loved the film. I loved the film. I thought it was fantastic. Also, you can follow me on social media if you like. I will link my Instagram. It is set to private because I'm a high school teacher, so I like to scam people who follow me because I don't want my students following me. So if you'd like to follow me, if you're a booktuber and you'd like to follow me, or you're interested in books, or you read books or whatever, please go and follow me and I will approve your follow.